Omaha's news leader. This is KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle.
The nuclear family, married with kids, a pet, and a house. It's not for all, but it is the goal of many. And that last part is becoming more and more out of reach for many. Thanks for joining us on today's Chronicle. I'm Bill Shammer. 10 years ago, the average U.S. house cost just over $300,000. Today, that price is well over $400,000. Today, we are discussing the issues and the current outlook on the market. We'll talk with a realtor on the current market conditions. We'll also sit down with a mortgage specialist to see what current trends are showing in the market. And then we'll discuss some changes happening on the local and federal level that are trying to address the issues in affordable housing. First, let's check on housing prices and the history here in Omaha. This is a look at the last 12 years. Long gone are the days of post-recession pricing, which as recently as 2011 saw the average house price sell for $204,000. Since then, the average price for a house has more than doubled in the last 15 years. It was just as recent as 2021 when the average price reached $300,000 threshold. 3 quick years later, in 2024, prices pushed beyond the $400,000 mark. Earlier this summer, Congress passed the 21st Century ROAD to Housing Act. Despite not being signed by the president, the bill gained enough bipartisan support in Congress to become law. So, what all did it contain, and what does it do? Here to explain more is Chronicle's Capitol Bureau Chief John Grunwald.
This is a huge win for America. It's a huge win for Nebraska.
The 21st Century ROAD to Housing Act, packed with more than 40 provisions, took policy cues from both sides of the aisle.
This is a rare win in Washington where we truly found bipartisan compromise on an issue that is so important to so many.
That sprawling piece of legislation, which Nebraska Congressman Mike Flood had a major part in writing, aims to do a lot, from capping corporate home ownership to loosening regulations around environmental reviews to tossing rules around building manufactured homes.
I think this is going to be a boom for the manufactured housing industry. When you cut out that chassis requirement, you are essentially cutting 30% of the cost.
But don't expect those effects on your block right away.
I think it will help the community over a period of time. It's going to take a while for all of these tools to be implemented.
A 2021 study from Front Porch Investments found that the Omaha metro area had an affordable housing unit gap of 78,000. They projected that if current trends hold, that number could grow up to 104,000 by the year 2040. Experts look to this legislation to curb that trajectory.
The goal is all of these tools are weaving together, and it really is about supply. It's about increasing production overall, putting a focus on home ownership.
Flood says some federal funds usually spent on other things could make small but immediate housing impacts in the metro area.
The mayor of Omaha gets an entitlement from the Community Development Block Grant Program, and under the law that we passed, effective immediately, one of the allowable uses for the first time in decades is home building.
Flood says it will still be up to local leaders to encourage denser neighborhoods, but says federal funding will incentivize that. Reporting for KETV News Watch 7, I'm John Grunwald.
So we're diving into what this bill could specifically do for Omaha and what it could do for the price of housing. Chronicle's Aaron Hegarty continues our coverage.
Veronica Jones says she's been looking to buy a home for 5 years.
So it's very frustrating.
She says she wants to stay home in North Omaha while giving her 2 foster boys room to play. Jones says one organization said they could offer a competitive rate on up to $150,000.
You're not going to find no house in North Omaha at that for $150,000. If you do, it's going to be raggedy and run down, and you got to put more money into it.
She says she's heard part of the problem is companies buying up home after home to rent out. The new federal housing law finds large companies that own more than 350 homes.
We would like to see more homes be put in the hands of the people who want to buy them instead of rent.
Omaha City Planning Director David Fanslaw says the bill overall is promising.
We think it's going to be a really good thing for Omaha. It all depends on federal appropriations for these programs.
One of the new programs he wonders about is a federal fund that can cover the cost of cities updating their zoning code.
If we qualify, it will just help us pay for that effort.
The city is working on its new master plan now, followed by a code update that Fans Law says should bring a larger diversity of housing types and the options people like Jones aren't finding now.
I ain't gonna give up. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep fighting.
So what about Omaha? Have the trends followed the national trends, or are they different here in the heartland? Here to help answer those questions is industry veteran, Realtor Van D. Van, thanks for joining us this morning on Chronicle.
Thank you for having me.
For those that don't know, how long have you been involved in real estate?
Oh my gosh, this is my 44th year.
Wow. Yeah. What are the biggest changes you've seen in the last 5 years?
The last 5 years, since COVID, it's been a little bit of a different market. You know, you see more of the first-time buyers dissipating. There isn't as many as there used to be because of what the prices have done in the last 5 years since COVID.
So I'm sure you get this question a lot. Today, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market?
I think it's turning into a buyer's market. Our inventory is low, but at the same time, affordability is playing a huge role. So right now, you know, a first-time buyer, they're looking at $330,000 as the average median price for Omaha. Before COVID, it was $180,000, and you used to be able to find, you know, a plethora of homes for sale under $180,000 for first-time buyers. Now, you're seeing those same homes that have doubled, and it takes a lot of people out of the market.
So if you are a buyer, what is the best strategy right now moving forward?
So I would say be diligent about, you know, staying up on what the market's doing. Make sure you have a realtor that is keeping you informed of what's coming on the market. And nowadays, buyers can jump on anybody's website, Zillow, Realtor.com, all of them, and they can be informed with what comes in the market for, like if they say they want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, they want to be under $300,000, they want this demographic, they have it at their fingertips. You've got to act pretty quickly. But at the same time, I'm seeing, and it just kind of, it's not normal to see, for instance, a home in Elkhorn that has been on the market for 3 weeks and it's $315,000, and it is a really great 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and 2-car garage. Normally, you'd have 15 offers on it. And it's a strange market. So there's really no consistency right now.
Okay. Why do you think homes like that are just sitting for multiple weeks instead of the bidding wars that we had a couple of years ago?
I think that people are hanging on the fence waiting for rates to go down. Now, when I started, rates were 17%. So I was in a market that when they went down to 15, people were jumping out of windows to buy houses. And so when I see people that are struggling with 6%, I want to say, well, they used to be 17. But I do understand, you know, it's all based on their mortgage payment. With taxes have gone up, property taxes have gone up, and insurance has gone up. Well, that all plays a role in your PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance.
Yeah.
And that can take somebody out of a market just with that figure right there.
So we talked about buyers. If somebody's looking to sell right now, what's the best strategy?
The best strategy is to price it correctly and make sure that if there's something that needs to be repaired and it's visible, have it looking good. I know my sellers, you know, I give them the advice of, you know, don't say I'll do it later. Don't say, well, let's get a buyer and say that we'll give an allowance or we'll do this. Price it accordingly, because buyers today are very intelligent. They've got all the resources that they've never had before. So they're coming in educated. So, you know, it's got to be priced right. It's all relative to price today.
You talked about the resources. You talked about the technology. Zillow. I mean, how has Zillow changed your job?
Well, you know, a lot of the buyers and sellers have become realtors because of Zillow. So Zillow publishes what they have, that the home, what they feel the home is worth. They haven't been on the inside. They don't know a lot of the updates or whatever, but they have a published price, and a lot of people go off that. But it's really funny. I'm going to give you an example. I had a house that I was going to that I listed, and Zillow had it at 530. I listed it at 485. The next day, Zillow had it at 485. So I think they're watching to see what the market does. So I tell people you might want to use that as just a resource, but that's not a good figure to use to make an offer on a home. I would not base it off of what Zillow has. I think they're a great source.
Yeah. You talked about property taxes and insurance as well. Do you think the property taxes in Nebraska, the home insurance rates in Nebraska, are playing a factor in what people are seeing in the market?
I think that's huge. I mean, I know a lot of people that are retiring that don't want to pay the property taxes because they can't afford it. They're on a fixed income now because they retired. So not only them, but we've got to come up with something, and we've got to have something in the state of Nebraska that there's a subsidies or something to help people with their property taxes, because they're really getting out of hand.
We've only got about 30 seconds left, but the best piece of advice you have for a potential first-time home buyer
is study the market, listen to the experts, and don't make any decisions that you haven't really thought through. And there's a lot of good opportunities out there.
Really great insight. Van, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me today.
Next on KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle, an estimated 70% of homes are still bought with a mortgage, despite what you may hear about foreign nationals buying homes outright. Get more facts on mortgages from a local mortgage specialist when we come back on Chronicle.